Welcome back to the Aquagon, coming off of our best performance yet in terms of YouTube views. I think we got over 12,000, I mean, actually, I think maybe even 13,000, might have climbed over 13,000 at the end. We are very quickly approaching damn near 400 subscribers. We appreciate every single one of you. As always, we are two guys that are wearing Hawaiian shirts or some type of attire in an actual hot tub. This is real water, not CGI. Oh yeah. Dave is good on the ones and twos in terms of computer, but he did not CGI this in there. And just kind of give you the side note, as always, we don't give you all of the fight card. We just give you the ones that we think are worth a damn to bet. Last week, again, I think we hit 4 out of 5 of the ones that we gave you. Oh yeah.
Big guy Glover on the underdog. Oh man, we were all over Glover on that.
Glover, and please feel free to come back and fact check our work. It is fucking incredible how we are doing, and which kind of leads me to the opening monologue. You know, before I get into this, if you just want to get the bets, feel free to fast forward. Fast forward right on, a couple of minutes in. It doesn't cost any money to like and subscribe, correct?
Like and subscribe. Still free on YouTube. Do it now.
Still free. It's actually not going to ever be any cost. We're not doing a fucking Patreon.
But do it now.
But opening monologue time. I want to speak about disliked guy. You know, we had some dislike buttons on there. Now, first off, I want to kind of speak my mind on what I think about dislike guy. I think dislike guy enjoys narcotics.
Narcotic guy.
You know what I mean? Like, what possesses somebody? Okay, it must take a shit ton of bravado to see two guys giving UFC predictions.
Winners!
4 out of 5 fucking winners, and then hit dislike. Like, walk me down this cow patch. What are you looking for? You looking for me to be fucking perfect? Well, that shit don't exist. If there's anything that you just don't have to invest to say, I'll stop doing this and I'll just work for you. In fact, instead of like let's just maybe put a comment. Give me some fucking feedback. You just look at the video and then hit dislike. I just don't understand what compels someone to do that.
I don't get it, man. It's crazy. It's a crazy world out there. I mean, you guys in the comments, I mean, if you bet with us and you hit some wins, tell these suckers that are disliking, hey, we've been making some money.
Also, speaking of suckers, tell them to suck on the wrong side of the pops. Anyhow, let's get into the picks. What a card we have for you. I mean, this thing has everything as far as just being stacked, the name brands, and what I deem as a true rivalry in the UFC. These two fucking hate each other. Usman and Covington, I mean, they hate each other.
This might be the most hated rivalry of all time.
It really could be. I mean, it ranks up there with Ohio State, Michigan, Avalanche, and Detroit Red Wings. I'm naming fucking Michigan rivalries because this is where we take part. But there's plenty of other rivalries out there that you know of. The Red River Shootout. This is the UFC's version of rival. Like, true rival. Like, there was, it was Tito and Chuck Liddell. This
DC
one,
and John Jones.
DC, John Jones. Like, this one, I think, takes the cake. And it's going to come to a crescendo here on Saturday night, which I'm extremely excited for. Before we get into that, though, we're gonna move bottom to top this time. Last time we did a little bit of a plot twist, little Freaky Friday. Went from the reverse. So I want to bring you to what I believe, and it's not going to be game changing here. Let's go with let's talk Bobby Green and Iaquinta. Okay. Now, for me, this again, sometimes there's optics of the fight. Let's talk about Iaquinta. He hasn't fought in a while. And his last victory came against Cowboy Cerrone, which we discuss often on the show as being the whipping boy of the UFC. And let's be he actually won. He was Cowboy's last win. That's what I meant to say. And since then, I mean, Cowboy hasn't won since the Lincoln administration. Yeah. So this is how far back you have to go for that. It's not aging. That loss is not aging well. You're coming back into the cage. It just seems like you're just kind of reaching to cash that one last check. What good are you going to do? And I know the one thing that kind of scares me a little bit about Bobby Green is he's a bit of a showboater. Okay. And that I think could get him in a little bit of trouble. But I just think anywhere this fight goes, he has the advantage. He has the upper hand. I'm not giving you ring rust. I'm just telling I'm not going to try to play that in because, as I've said before, and I said it with Glover, I just don't buy into that. But if you haven't fought in a while and you were the last victory to a guy that just has done nothing but lose, there's a lot to digest there. I don't know if you have a different take on this one.
Well, I had this one up as the, we might have to rebrand it, but the tequila bet. I had this one up. I knew that you were going to be taking that shoulder roll guy and Iaquinta. If you can fight Khabib like he did, probably the best performance I saw against Khabib, be a short notice, but this guy's still got a big spot in my heart after that one. If you can fight him like that, shoulder roll guy, Bobby Green, that's all he's got. I don't think he's got anything for him. He's going to be taking him in the deep water. He's going to be grinding on him, pushing him against the cage, trying to get him on the ground. I don't think Bobby Green's going to be able to stand the pressure that Iaquinta's going to put on him. And I think this is going to be our bet of the week.
So we do that. And remember last time we said I suckers a minute. I'm going to give you the line. I did this last actually. We do have Bobby Green coming in as a negative 175.
Oh, you do me into another.
And Quinta coming in at plus 135. Yeah, well, if it's just a straight up bet, we'll do it. We'll go and splash that one right on in and move on. What do you want to move to? Marlon, Vera, and Frankie Edgar?
Yeah, I like that one. Man, Marlon Vera, I can't get a good read on him. He kicks Sugar Sean in that Achilles heel or whatever the hell it is that makes your leg go dead. Gets a really good win.
That is a funky, but it's a thing that happens.
I mean, he did it. He deserved the win. I kind of liked him. I was high on him when he was going against Jose Aldo. Aldo was kind of on his comeback route and kind of showed his dominance in the division when he was beating a guy like Vera, showed where he actually was in the division. I really like Tito, and Frankie Edgar, man. He's got the wrestling, he's got the experience, he's got the age. This guy's getting a little old, 40, a little long in the tooth, I think.
And there's two aspects to the age thing. So, and I don't want to keep pivoting back to this, but we did talk about Glover. But the thing with Glover is, with age, he's progressing. That's a guy that has won his last 6 fights against the top talent in the UFC. You have to look at that from a different prism. Frankie Edgar looked like absolute shit in his last fight.
Yeah.
It looks like he has hit that Mendoza line as far as his age is concerned, where it might just be a little bit too much for him.
Yeah, the age is a case-by-case basis. I mean, if you're seeing age diminish a fighter, you have to call it out. And if you see age, Tom Brady's still the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, is age a factor for him? No. Is age a factor for Glover? No. Frankie? I think yes.
People progress differently, and that's kind of where for me, I'm going to go with Vera, Marlon Vera here. Another favorite, negative 182 versus plus 145, but quite frankly, I would probably take this line if it was north of 200. I just think Frankie is done. Unfortunately, I think he's had he's had the most cage. I think I read a stat that he had like the most cage time last time he fought. At the point that he had fought his last fight, he had the most octagon time.
I believe something like that.
Something like maybe in the weight class, maybe in the all of UFC. I'm not sure. And that wears and tears on him. You know what I mean? And he's jumped a weight class, went down a weight class. I think he was cutting some serious weight for the majority of his career. And, you just kind of, you live in that glory, but sometimes it's just your body doesn't keep up with what your mind wants to do. And, maybe Frankie proves me wrong here, but, I don't feel comfortable enough to put my money, and this is going to be a bet in the other direction. We are going to go with the favorite on this one.
Yeah.
And you got anything different?
No, I'm going with Vera as well.
Yeah, Vera as well.
I put him in a parlay. I'll be piecing together a parlay that we'll post.
Yeah. It might be a nice heavy unit bet on straight for me. I'll kind of let you know as the week progresses here. As always, we're updating on our I will set our Tinder.
Ooh, Tinder. We don't talk about our Tinders
on our Tinder page. Yeah, we don't have a Tinder. Follow us on Tinder. All right, what's the next one here? You like Phil Hawes, right?
Yeah, Phil Hawes is a beast. He's such a big favorite. He's got those tree trunk legs. I think he gets a good solid win. Another big favorite that I like is Alex Pereira. We kind of touched on him last week, being Glover's I'm almost thinking he's one of the pieces of that puzzle that got Glover to this next level. And remember, he's the guy that has KO'd Stylebender twice in kickboxing, coming over completely focused on MMA. And I think the parts where he was helping Glover out on, I got to imagine Glover's doing the reverse, helping him with the grappling, helping him with the ground game, helping him with the takedown defense. So I think I like Alex Pereira a lot here. I'm going to take him by KO, TKO. This guy's going to be up and comer. You know they're going to be feeding him cupcakes to kind of build up a fight where he can go against Stylebender if he can pass all the tests. So I like him here. I don't think that's anything really.
If you don't think that, I mean, that's a big angle though. I mean, this is the Stylebender. This is a huge angle as far as it was his first loss. And if you've watched the footage, I mean, I think it was in Japan.
Yeah.
Kickboxing in Japan. You know, Stylebender, I think, was winning that fight, but he took one right on the dome and was out cold. And, you know, it was bad. I mean, he was out there and there was a little bit of shit talking. He went over him. I mean, it was some bad blood. There could be a lot of, and right now, if you're talking about, you know, the middleweight division, I just don't see him losing. So you give this guy a little bit of cupcakes, you're talking about a super fight.
I'm excited about that one. Maybe a year and a half down the line, we'll see these guys get built up. You know, blonde-haired Brunson can't get the job done against Stylebender.
He won't. I mean, I love Brunson. I think he's on a good run, but no, that's not the right fight. And, you know, I think it'll be good. I think he is going to have his wrestling on point, or at least what a kickboxer like him needs to be able to do is keep the takedowns at bay. Mm-hmm. And if you do get taken down, you continue to move and you get back up, and all you're doing is making them work harder, gas out, and you're just opening up the shots later in the round, which, quite frankly, I see that happen, and I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, I like that one.
Now, we both won some money on this next gentleman. We have a lot. We're actually going over quite a bit of these fights, but that's just the card it is. So, you know, one in Rome.
Oh, what a good card. Now, this is something that we've said that UFC should do for a long time. Put 2 back-to-back cards with these big names so you're not getting a peak and then a valley right afterwards where all the people that are getting excited about these big name fights just kind of lose interest. I mean, we got 2 weeks in a row with huge fights. It's awesome.
I love it. So we have Billy Quarantillo versus Shane Burgos live. Shane Burgos coming in at -200 and Billy Q again, the underdog at +160. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to stick with my boy Billy Q on this one.
Billy Q. You know, we're value bettors, and you're going to tell me Shane Burgos coming off of 2 losses, basically being a punching bag to Edson Barbosa, is going to be a 2-1 favorite. You know, he seems like his career is going this way, and Billy Q's is going this way. I think he's a tough dude, and I think Billy Q's going to get the win here.
And Barbosa, I mean, if you want to go with the recency bias, I mean, he didn't look so hot in his last fight, so it isn't aging well at all.
I mean, you got a one-dimensional Edson Barbosa coming at you. You know he's doing 2 things, kicking and punching, and if you are getting just punched in the face every time without any answer, what can you do? I mean, no takedowns, nothing.
There's 2 things that Billy Q does that I absolutely love. First off, he's got a motor. He's always moving. He's always trying to get around your back. He's trying to take you down. He's constantly scoring clout with the judges, right? But there's something that he works throughout a whole fight that I've noticed that breaks fighters down, and it's those menacing knees. And it's the thing that you can't really stack ring. It's not the flashy, you know, straight knockout punches where you see it. It's when he gets these guys, he likes to shove his opponent up on the fence and just rake these knees right underneath that rib cage.
Ooh, yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, if you've ever been, if you're sitting next to your buddy, have a knee in the fucking rib and tell me how you feel. I don't care how big you are, how in shape you are, there is not a good way to get nailed in the knee right in the right spot. And it seems like he's landing it, and he'll throw it. I mean, I think I have him counted in the other fight. I think he threw it 8 or 9 times clean. Till he got the victory. So. I like it. For me, Billy Q, he rips the knees. You got to watch out for that. Now we're getting into the juicy things. So we're going to give you. I am going to give you my next underdog here, fighter that I love. Previously fought for the actual championship. This is going to be a barber though. Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler coming in at +170. Gaethje coming in at -215. Talk to me, buddy.
Okay, so this is the beginning of what I like to call the Trevor Whitman show. You got 3, the featured, the co-main, and the main event. Trevor Whitman coaches 3 fighters. I'm losing my Justin Gaethje, Namajunas, and Kamaru Usman. So he is going back to back on this card, really showcasing what he's done as the guru of this gym that we're working with.
Justin, those are some big fucking names.
Big names, and I mean, I mean, I know that's a little bit of the narrative of this one, but I mean, this one needs to be blown out of proportion. This guy is outstanding when he's coaching these people. You've seen what he did to Kamaru Usman. I know he's in the main event, but I mean, you've seen what he's done with striking. Gaethje's striking is off the charts. I mean, he came in as a wrestler, and I think he's more known for his leg kicks and his striking than anything else now. I mean, Mr. Violence, Justin Gaethje, he's going to come in there. I think Chandler's going to put him to the test, though. On my side, I feel like Vegas got it right. Trevor Whitman being the best coach in the game right now, and Gaethje just never dying, never quitting, and his chin is not a suspect as Chandler's is. I'm gonna have to stay with the favorite here at Gaethje.
Okay, I like it. I think it's unfortunate because I have to choose a side here, a betting side, and I would argue these are two of my favorite fighters in the UFC, or at least up there. I would say definitely top 10, perhaps top 5. Both. Here's the thing. Gaethje is one of the most exciting fighters to watch because the guy has no regard for his face. He's got a ton of output throughout his fights, and he loves to go in there and brawl. And the difference for me, though, when it comes to Chandler, which, real talk, if you look at both these guys, they're like mirrors of each other. They like to brawl. They have a very good accuracy. They can connect. They have a lot of movement. When taken down or in the grappling, they're very quick on their feet. They're not guys that just lay there, which is exciting, which makes me think that the wrestling is almost completely out of the question here. These guys are going to be in the center of the octagon and start swinging. Now, to me, that's advantage Chandler. The way that Gaethje gets people out of the cage door is he takes their soul by basically not protecting himself, lets them gas out a bit, and then he swings fast. Then he puts his foot on. He has that second level later on in the fight. The thing with Chandler is he has the kiss of death in his hands, and he's not a guy you get in a firefight with. In fact, he damn near fucking knocked the champion out. As close as he can tell you. You know what I mean? I mean, that was a great fight and back and forth. One thing I will tell you, put your buckle up, because this one I think is one that you bet on violence. This is going to be an under hit. I do not see this going to the judges. If it does, I would say advantage Gaethje. But if they go in and firefight like I anticipate, I just think that Chandler has the cleaner striking. And when he connects, he puts people to sleep. And the other thing too, Chandler's one of those fighters, when he hurts you, he pounces on you. Somehow Oliveira got out of that. Because it wasn't because Chandler didn't smell the blood and attack. That wasn't what happened there. Oliveira just came back to life out of fucking nowhere.
Did a punch wake him back up? I felt like that fight should have been stopped.
Yeah, literally, it's like one punch, he's out, and the next one, like, damn near fucking woke his ass. It was like, I've never seen anything like it. But I don't think that Gaethje's going to have the same fate. So again, this is a must win for Chandler. They threw him in there, got a great win against Hooker. I think you have to keep him up at the top level because he did pretty much almost finish the guy that's holding the belt right now. So you can't just say that didn't happen and a win's a win. Like in fighting, I just think it's a little bit different. But you come in here, you lose to Gaethje, you lose 2 out of 3. I don't think you can play at the big kids table anymore.
You know what he's gonna get if he loses? I bet Islam Makhachev's coming after his ass.
Yeah, that's
Gaethje's gonna get the title fight. And if you lose to Gaethje, now you got Islam up your ass. I mean,
that's going to be a great fight, but again, it's not. Islam's are your future champion, folks. If you want to take that one to the Vancouver here first, well, I guess that doesn't take long to run. Take if you watch the fights last week.
Man, I thought Hooker would have a shot, but no.
Dude, this guy's insane. But let's move on. So I'm Chandler.
I'll get you on that one.
I'll give you a bet of the night too.
Okay.
On that one. I'll take the underdog because I'm a big Chandler fan. However, I think this is the fight. I can't even say that here, but I'm really looking forward to this card in general. We'll move on though to Rose and Weili Zhang, baby. What did she say? What was she saying before the fight last time? I'm the best bitch.
I'm the best in the world.
Yeah. That's what Kate says. Okay, so. I've said it before that fight. We called that one. Made some pretty decent cachet.
That was the biggest bet I ever placed on an MMA fight, Rose.
Right there. And it's going to be much of the same. And the Asian fighting style it doesn't change. You don't protect yourself. You struggle to close the distance. And Rose is just going able to tee off at a range, and if you're not protecting yourself, you got someone that tees off at a range, you're going to see the same result. Again, in women's MMA, you don't see it that often, but I would say Rose inside the distance is the bet here.
Yeah, she can submit her. She can knock her out. I was licking my chops when I seen this line come out as a pick'em. I thought Rose was going to at least be a 2-1 favorite on this one. Weili, she has come to America to do her camp. She's working with the Triple Champ as her new head coach, it seems like. I just don't think changing scenery like that, coming to the United States and training with him for as many months as she has, I don't think it's going to make the difference that she needs to fight Rose at this point. I think it's a good move for her. I think, Cejudo's is probably going to be a great, yin to her yang on what she needs to improve on in the UFC, but I just don't think she has enough time with him. Looks like she was spending a little bit too much time overall with Deontay Wilder too, because she had excuse after excuse after excuse for why she had lost to Rose, from the crowd chants to, the time change. So I love Rose here. I'm going to be putting another probably 4, 5, 6 unit bet on her this time.
Yeah.
I've already got 4 on it right now, so it's going to be a big one.
And the thing with Weili, first off, she, like you said, so let's say we got Triple C, but at the end of the day, are you going to try to take her down? Because then you're in the submission zone. There's no way you've fielded up to her level as far as that's concerned.
Exactly.
The second thing that I didn't really see coming, which I thought was a strength of her, because if I remember the show correctly, we were saying like she is durable.
Yes.
She has the ability to come at you and swing and take your punches in stride, and she breaks your soul doing that. Well, she's the one that got her soul broken. We've seen a chink in the armor, and it's almost like breaking the seal when you're a guy and you have to piss. You know what I'm talking about. Once it's happened, it's almost like a chain reaction. You are more susceptible each time it happens. That's why these guys that are continuously getting, you see it in the NFL, these chain concussions that happen.
Yep.
Similar here, I think, and now it's going to be in the back of her head. She knows what it's like now.
Yeah. Do you think she got the confidence after knowing she got knocked out in the first round to come and fight her again?
Yeah.
I mean, she might say she does, but let's see if she does.
I just don't know that she can close the distance like she needs to. And quite frankly, even if she does, I think she's susceptible to then the grappling comes into play. Rose just has the advantage everywhere, unless they're just going to point to the center of the ring and brawl. But Rose is a smart fighter. She's not going to do that. Vegas got that line so freaking wrong. It's like, maybe you're going with the volume and you're not anticipating a knockout and get that. But, I really did think the path to victory was Rose was going to land the bigger shots in this one and be able to stay at range and not take the same damage that Weili's accustomed to doling out to her opponents. So that was the big thing there, and I think you're just going to see much of the same. But again, the fight has potential for fireworks, so I'm extremely, extremely, extremely excited for this one. Before we get to the main dish, I just want to make sure that we covered all of our grounds. I think we did do a good job here. Listen, before we get in there, I want to give you a sidebar bet, and this is because I think this guy is absolute fucking dog shit, and I appreciate what he's doing, and he's a diabetic and all the things that he's fighting for, but I just don't think he's very good UFC caliber. He was on the Contender Series a couple times, maybe even an iffy contract, coming out. Gets a win coming out, but then, loses to Mickey Gall. We're talking about Jordan Williams versus Ian Garry. Now, the line indicates as such. I'm not telling you Vegas got this wrong, but this is an auto win. Jordan Williams loses this fight 10 out of 10 times, even on his luckiest day. Ian Garry coming in at -360 versus Jordan Williams at +275. This is a step up in competition from Mickey Gall, and Mickey Gall made him look like shit. That was when we watched that one at the casino. So
yeah, that's a rough one.
If you want a great parlay piece, Ian Garry all day. So give me that one. Here we are, the moment we've all been waiting for. Long lead up, and I'm gonna give it to Covington. He did call his shot. He went in, he fought one fight after their last fight and then said, it is Usman or bust. He stood up to the UFC, which usually doesn't pan out very well for folks. Dana White is very good at being a shrewd businessman, and quite frankly, I do appreciate him for that. That's why we have the wonderful growth in the sport that we have seen. But he is running into the storm, my friends. I'll give you my take on what I've seen on Usman. And because of what I've seen, even though I'm a big Covington fan, I can't bet against Usman you went in and you're knocking people out, you're beating people at their own game. And when you take these two together, Covington, great gas tank, a very good chain wrestler, can beat a lot of the wrestlers that he fights too at wrestling. But in this fight, I think their wrestling and octagon control almost cancels each other out. So then it comes to that next layer. Usman has learned how to strike and strike maybe in the top echelon in the UFC. You pair that with his ability to put people on the cage and grind on them, his octagon control, the fact that maybe he even could potentially have the edge in wrestling, maybe not. I don't know. I'd be on the fence. Maybe they're 50-50. But, he's definitely good enough if, let's say, Usman, or let's say Covington times a nice little takedown, which I'm sure he might do that because I think Covington might be looking for the takedown more than Usman is at this point. But I don't think Usman's going to stay there. And the takedown might, if anything, just wear on Covington's gas tank, bring those hands down a little bit, and you're going to see a power punch just landed on him and, break his jaw, whatever the case may be. Usman is a freak athlete with freak power and freak abilities. This guy ain't losing anytime soon, in my opinion. I don't know if you have a different take here, but...
Man, I think I'm just going to have to do a little devil's advocate. I'm not going to be saying I'm betting with Covington, but I'm going to give you a little bit of reason why. Maybe the line's a little out of place. All right, so going into the 5th round, 3 judges. We had one judge scoring about 3-1 for Usman. One judge calling it 2-2, and one judge calling it 3-1 for Covington. So basically, whoever won that 5th round was going to be winning that fight. You know what happened at the end of that 5th round? He got stopped. Covington got stopped and basically broke his jaw and lost the fight. Now, was there a few things in that fight? Maybe a suspect nut shot, a suspect eye poke. A few little weird things happened that Covington will let you know about.
And we might not see regression there because these two guys hate each other. And maybe Covington sends it right back his way. I mean, it's going to be exciting, but yeah, keep going.
So my idea is Covington knows he can't beat Usman standing up. He tried it last time. He didn't want to use his wrestling against him. He didn't want to grind on him. He wanted to try to beat him standing up. He found out he couldn't do it that fight. He watched what has happened in the last few fights with Usman. He sees that this guy can strike now. I mean, like you said, top echelon of the division. Probably the scariest guy of all time. Way better than GSP, I'm saying. George St. Pierre, I mean, what a joke compared to Usman. Now, Covington changed his camp to focus on himself only, and I'm thinking he's going to try to make this a wrestling match, pushing Usman against his cage, trying to hit that gas tank. I don't think Covington has paid a lick of attention to anything besides his gas tank since he stopped fighting, came out of that win off of Tyron Woodley. So if his path to victory, which I'm thinking he's going to have a completely different game plan than his last fight, is grinding, shooting at the legs. I mean, I'm talking diving at the feet. I don't think he wants to be standing with Usman one bit. That's my take on that one. I don't think the line's exactly right. I think Covington's got a little bit better shot. But with Trevor Whitman being in his corner, and like I said, how much I'm just totally on Trevor Whitman right now, I don't see Usman losing it. But man, if there's any way he's going to do it, is if Covington completely revamps his game plan and comes in there and does win in those scramble and chain wrestling positions.
It's negative, so the line is important here, so that's a good point. So -335 for Usman at time of taping, and then we got +250 for Covington. Now, I'm with you. If it's the path to victory for Covington is you got to make this a dirty scrap. I mean, you're going to have to bring the cardio because you are going to have to rely a lot on your grappling and hope that it edges Usman out. Mm-hmm. What you can't do if you're Covington, you can't let Usman use that big frame, which let me sidebar on that big frame for a second. In this division, Usman, just body size-wise, makes the guys that he's fighting look like Carrot Top before steroids.
Yeah,
I mean, he's just so fucking big and powerful. And what Usman likes to do, he likes to do this thing called you might know it as stand-up grappling, others might know it as hand fighting, and he gets you onto that cage, and then he just starts hammering you. And the thing is, it's crazy, and a lot of his opponents, they can't get out from that position. You think just turn, spin, circle your feet. Well, he doesn't make it look that easy, and he does a good job of closing them off when they try to circle away. He closes them off. And then he's just hammering them the whole time and kind of doing that. Again, fights that dirty grind fight to really grind a guy down, which opens up these shots later, outside Masvidal. Masvidal just got pinged right in the beginning. But, Covington's going to have to stay out of situations like that. And I think you're 100% right. To do so, he's going to have to be setting up his shots. Not be going on his back foot, getting stalked down, and then trying to shoot right from with the cage sitting right on your heel. That's not how you got to do it. You got to be circling in the center of the octagon, changing your lane, and then go in and pick your shots. And then if he's going to get this victory, he's going to need to land a minimum of 3 takedowns in 3 different rounds.
Yes.
And he's going to have to be able to show an ability to keep Usman on the ground. If he lands a takedown and wraps up Usman's hands, and keeps him down there, and at least is able to ride him out for 2.5 minutes, which, listen, Covington is capable of doing this. Maybe even grinding out and getting him tired, and then you go into that 5th and final round, and you can maybe even land a few big shots of yourself, because that's a big chassis he's carrying around. You know what I mean? And quite frankly, he has a great gas tank, but the problem is in Usman's fights, he's not getting tested. He's controlling the fight. He's not having to exert a lot of energy. He gets to lean on you and throw his punches. If Covington can reverse that narrative, make him have to move around a lot, I would like to see Usman even fucking sweat in the 5th round and see what it's like carrying that muscle around.
Yeah.
But again, I have to go Usman until I'm proven otherwise. It's just the power that he has and the exchange. If I bet with Covington, I'm shitting myself. And I'm not trying to wet my jockstrap. I'm trying to enjoy this one. So, be it as it may, all these fights, pretty much top to bottom, even the early prelims, I mean, we typically maybe give you 5 fights, 6 fights that we think betting. We gave you probably 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We maybe gave you north of 10 here today. And there was some that I wanted to even maybe discuss, maybe touch on. Maybe we'll hit the TikTok, not Tinder. But, as the week progresses, we'll see what happens. But definitely excited for this one, folks. So you're not going to want to miss this one. We appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. And then if you do feel compelled to hit that dislike button, if you don't like winning fights, I do, there's a guy with a beanie head. You can feel free to go to there. He gives you a bunch of losers. You can go ahead and hit the like button on his if that's what you like. But outside of that, we're giving you winners over here, folks. That shit ain't easy to do. And I know what you're saying. Well, the gamble says that. Well, here's the thing. We have a little something called burden of proof, called a fucking cannon. Not the one that shoots. It's called a camera. So look at our previous footage and spot check me. Till next time, my friends. We'll see you back here at the Aquagon. I'm Stuart Steel Cage.
I'm every day.
See you next time.